Happy Wednesday, everyone. Today's March 18th. Let's talk about everything that happened on March 17th, 2026. Let's talk about the first game is the Miami Heat lost to the Charlotte Hornets. Hornets has been built. They just been different. Kawhi Ware started, played 27 minutes, amazing. Ben was out, played 28 minutes, had a block, 8 rebounds, but he's a must roster. Him getting 28 minutes a night is a top 40 player. They just need to play some inferior opponent where he will pop off. Absolutely must roster. Devin Mitchell, you could have him for assists, threes, and steals. Tyler Hero, 9 for 9 from the line is good. Overall, Hero has been very disappointing this year, and mainly because of the injuries. So not a guy that we want to pick super early next year because nobody's gonna value him that high. So, but he does have the upside. Like he have the upside to be a top 30 player. Could average 24, 25 points with a lot, 3.5 threes and really good free throws. And he's been getting a lot of defensive stats. Not a lot, but by his standard. Norman Powell had 17 points. Okay. The rest of the key guys, they're not really fantasy relevant at this point. Charlotte Hornets, LaMelo, great, 30 points, 13 assists, 4 threes. Surprise, Sometimes it happens, a bad team all of a sudden this year turned into a great team. They're no longer tanking. If the last team in the East, I'm sure LaMelo is missing a lot of games. Moussa Diabate played great. 13 rebounds, 2 steals, and a block. In my opinion, he needs to be rostered for points and for rebounds and blocks. Other defensive stats. Knipo struggled a little bit. With 5 fouls, but had 22 points, and Miles Bridges had 14, 10, and with 2 steals and a block. Miles Bridges is the type of player I guess he's good with points and rebounds, but a good chunk of his value coming from his efficiency, which in the playoffs, efficiency is important, but if you, because a lot of times efficiency really depend on the teams you're a lot of times it's matchup based, whereas maybe the points and threes and rebounds, especially if you're a role player, you're more consistent with that. So don't be afraid to drop Miles Bridges, if needed to. All right, moving on to the next game, we have OKC beating the Orlando Magic 113-108. Oh well, OKC they just got too many good players. Shea, 40 points, 4 steals, 9 for 11 from the free throw line. Struggled a little bit by his standard. Great. He's trying to go for the MVP, man. He's trying to go for the MVP. Him and Jokic both are putting up just ridiculous numbers. AJ Mitchell must roster at the moment as long as he's starting and getting 30 minutes. 5 for 5 from the line. He can do a bit everything. Isaiah Hartenstein had some foul trouble, but yeah, if he's on the waiver wire, definitely pick him up for next game. Looking for rebound defensive stats. Shed Holmgren, 12 rebounds, 20 points is okay. The rest of these guys, now that Isaiah Hartenstein is also back, I wouldn't really, you can stream them if there's a back-to-back like Cason Wallace for threes and steals. He's the top guy on the waiver wire probably. And Isaiah Joe, Eric Wiggins, yeah, if they have some injuries, sure. For the Magic, Banchero had a great game offensively, 32 points, 10 rebounds. Jalen Suggs, Ramia must roster, 6 assists, a steal and a block. And, the guy we're looking at, Tristan da Silva, struggled a little bit, but, you're playing Oklahoma City Thunder. I think if you're looking for 3-and-D guy, we could roster him for a little bit longer. The next game is Detroit. Oh, my God, Jordan Durant scored 36 points because it's versus Washington. 130, 117. Every big man goes off versus Wizards, and to start did not play. 36 points, 12 rebounds. What a game from him, and went 10 for 11 from the free throw line as well. So it's like everybody is going off versus the Wizards, and unfortunately, Kate Cunningham got hurt here. Played just 5 minutes. Well, hopefully it's not too serious. He's never really been hurt. If he's out, there could be some opportunities open up. Like I would consider, depend on their schedule. Like Kevin Huerter, Karis LeVert, and this guy Dennis Jenkins. Depend who is starting, right? If Jenkins is starting, I'm gonna go with him. Duncan Robinson hit 1 3. Tobias Harris had 6 assists and 2 blocks. That's good. And also Thompson had 0 defensive stats versus the Wizards, which is surprising. For the Wizards, Trae Young, look, if Trae is out next game, I think Bob Carrington and Trae Johnson, they have some value for some assists, some threes. Bob Carrington actually absolutely went off with 30 points and 6 threes. If you streamed him, congratulations. Justin Champagnie, just like his brother, they're just super solid fantasy players. 18 points, 9 rebounds with 2 threes, added a block. If he starts, I would stream him. Otherwise, sometimes they don't even play him. And sometimes, even if you start, right, you only get 20 minutes. So it's hard to predict. Sar was also out. It is what it is. Sar has been dominating all year and basically didn't play much at all the last month and a half. During the most important times, they just sat him. Straight up just rest him. Moving on to the next game, the Indiana Pacers. They have nothing to play for. So Siakam has a 136, 110. Because of the blowout, some of the minutes were low across the board. Aaron Nesmith plays just 24 minutes. Really, honestly, on this team, Jarris Walker is really the only guy you can trust him with the consistent minutes. And even then, they get blown out so much that, he doesn't... I'm surprised he even played 32 minutes here. But we could have him. He can give you some points, some rebounds, and some threes. But it's not like he's the best fantasy player. He has the potential, but his efficiency is a little bit questionable. And, he doesn't really have a crazy consistency, of course, for a young guy. Zubac, if you want rebounds, sure. But other than that, I don't think, he only played 26 minutes here as well. I think it's drop city for everybody. If Kobe Bryant starts next game, maybe. For the Knicks, Jalen Brunson was out. So they started Jose Alvarado. So, it looks like Jose Alvarado could be that guy. If Jalen Brunson is out again, if he starts, I don't think Jalen's going to be out for too long, but something to keep in mind if Jalen misses again this season. Jose Alvarado, you can definitely stream him for assists and steals and hit 4 threes as well. Mikal Bridges continues to struggle. Cat, without Jalen Brunson, took 21 shots, so usage is up. Really good game from Cat. But consider they played the Pacers, I would have, kind of expected more out of him. Josh Hart, what a game from him, 12 for 13 from the field. He does this every single year. Don't even bother drafting him next year because beginning of the season he's going to play 20 minutes. And then you're going to have people going to get hurt. He's going to come in and play huge minutes. OG also had a big game versus the Pacers. Pacers don't really have a lot of defense. The next one is the Cavaliers. They beat the Bucks, 123-116. James Harden finally had a good shooting night despite the finger, 27 points, and Donovan Mitchell struggled here. I think with the arrival of Harden, Donovan Mitchell and Harden, they're trying to learn how to play with each other. So Donovan's stats did suffer a little bit in fantasy. That's kind of unfortunate. Mobley went off, 15 rebounds, 3 blocks, 27 points. Honestly, play with Harden, for a big man, it does help you tremendously. But Mobley's problem is 3 for 5 from the free throw line again. Next year, we could take him in the 3rd round. But the free throw worry is, I would, if I have Giannis in the 1st round, depending on where he ends up, I would target him Mobley, punting the free throws, because it's just too much of a pain. He goes like 60% all the time, For the Bucks, Kevin Porter Jr. played great, 25 points and 10 assists. Ryan Rollins also decent game with 19 points and 3 threes. The rest of these guys, who can we really trust? Bobby Portis played well off the bench, played 32 minutes, but a lot of games he plays 23 minutes. So unless there's a back-to-back, right, I wouldn't really stream any of the Bucks guys. If there's a back-to-back, then Jericho Sims also become interesting. Bobby Portis. But, another team who just had nothing to play for. Moving on to the next one, Phoenix, they lost to the Timberwolves, and Randall has been popping off. And, obviously Anthony Edwards is out. Devin Booker, how about him? 34 points again. Efficiency was a little bit rough, But I guess, with the arrival of Jalen Green, it does unlock Devin Booker quite a bit. Also, Iguodala, absolutely must roster. 10 rebound, 4 assists, 3 steals in 34 points, 16 points. Amazing game. Colin, in my opinion, must roster as well. He does everything pretty well. Royce O'Neal hit 3 threes. Yeah, if you 3-and-D guy too. Jalen Green struggled a little bit. Jalen Green is a guy, he's been playing very well as of late before this game. But if you don't need points and threes, he also added 5 assists, 2 steals and block. So he's contributing across the board. So this is the bad example. But yeah, the other example, if you're trying to win field goal and you're trying to win turnover, you're trying to win rebound and blocks, he's somebody you could consider dropping, especially if you in a final round of the playoffs, because he's just a negative to your team. For the Timberwolves, Randall is stepping up major way, 32 points, 3 steals, 6 turnovers is high, but very good game. And I think with Anthony Edwards out, Dosunmu is a guy that we could definitely stream for points and threes. Had 19 points here, and Dante really struggled here. And a lot of those minutes went to Bones Highland. I don't think it's gonna happen very often. So if you need threes and steals, you should still stick with Dante. He's gonna bounce back from this. And Rudy also had a big game with 19 rebounds and 4 blocks. Jaden McDaniels also a huge game. The Wolves are pretty locked in. Last game of the night, we have the 76ers. Well, this really wasn't a close game, and the minutes were low across the board. The 76ers, this game, they started Bona. In just 15 minutes, he had 1 steal and 3 blocks. So before Embiid comes back, Bona need to be rostered. Same thing with Drummond. Or need to be streamed for big man stats. And Justin Edwards, Dominic Barlow, same thing. I think Paul George return might be around the corner, so pay attention to him. But before he comes back, these 2 guys need to be streamed. Same thing with Quentin Grimes. He's an absolutely must roster right now. They obviously all struggled collectively versus Denver. Jokic, 14 assists is great. It's great, but nothing else. It's fine. Jokic doesn't really have to try that hard here. Jamal Murray, same thing. Christian Braun scored 22 points. That's great. But Christian Braun, Aaron Gordon, Cameron Johnson, those guys, they don't have crazy value, and they're all kind of like 3-and-D guys. So if you're looking for those 3 categories, threes, defensive stats, and then just a little bit everything else, you could roster these guys. But they're not like specialists in category leagues. There's not one thing. Cameron Johnson supposedly hit a lot of threes, but this year, we haven't seen that happen. And Tim Hardaway Jr.'s minutes has been trending down. So even if we need threes, we got to think about other better options out there. But if Tim Hardaway Jr. played 30 minutes off the bench, he's one of the best 3-point streamers in the league. Any game he could pop off with 5 threes. That's it, guys. I will see you tomorrow.